No, 100% right. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you look for in a barbershop? You walk in the barbershop, what's the first thing you look for?
Cleanliness.
Okay. Talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, it's got to be clean. Like, I understand there's going to be hair on the floor and stuff like that, but like, I really appreciate when I walk into a barber shop, it smells good, it's not muggy, right? Because you have hundreds of guys coming in and out of these doors every single day.
Smell like a locker
It could
room.
get it could easily smell like a locker room in there, right? And I've been to some barbershops where you're just like, damn, like it's stinky in here, right?
What's going on?
Like yeah, like it's a little musty, right? So like when I walk into a barbershop and it's clean and every chair doesn't have a mountain of hair underneath it, you know what I mean? They're actually taking the time to sweep after haircuts and stuff like that. Like that's big for me, right? Because that tells me that you respect your space, right? And then I feel more comfortable getting in the chair. Like if I sit down at your station and you're fumbling for clips, you can't find them, you know what I mean? You're just cleaning your stuff when I walk in. Like it wasn't clean already. Your station looks awful. There's hair all over your station. I'm not gonna feel that comfortable.
Yeah. All right, what's up, guys? This is Not Your Ordinary Barber with N.Y.O Barbershop.
What's up, y'all? It's a CT Barber here.
Today we got
we got?
another podcast. We had a couple people that wanted to get a customer's perspective of the barbering industry and what's been going on ever since after the pandemic. So today I got a good friend, good customer. His name is Isaac Mensa here with us today.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, well, introduce yourself. Tell them where you're from, your age, what you do, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I'm Isaac Mensa, right here, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, 25 years old. Been getting my hair cut by Jose and the guys for probably like 10 years now. Yeah, so deep connection. I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if they raise the price to $250. I'm not leaving.
All right, so we're gonna get into. Let's talk about what happened after the pandemic. Actually, no, let's go back a little bit. We're gonna go talk about during the pandemic when barbershops had to shut down. What did you? How do you feel? How did that affect you in a way that barbers weren't considered essential workers? Like barbershops literally had to close down and nobody was out there giving haircuts.
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I didn't see too much of like a problem because most of the barbers that I was getting my hair cut by, they were okay with open up shop at home. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was kind of like by any means necessary, they're gonna make sure that I'm not out here looking crazy,
All right.
and that was definitely beneficial. But I don't know. I mean, I guess like the hardest part was also because you're trying to stay distanced. You go to your barber's house and there's 16 people sitting in their living room, you know? So that's kind of crazy. Definitely a little risky, but we made it happen, man. We made it work, and I don't know, no sweat off my back. I'm just glad that we're here now.
Now after the pandemic, right? Well, let's continue where we were. So you were going to people's houses. You were coming to the house to get your hair cut, and there was like 15 people there in someone's house. How did that make you feel? How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, it might sound bad, but honestly, throughout the whole COVID thing, like I was staying distanced, I was wearing my mask, I was doing all the things that we were told to do, but I honestly didn't even care much. I really didn't care. I kind of did it per the preference of whoever I was around, you know? If they wanted people to wear a mask, I wore a mask. If not, I didn't really care too
Like,
much,
fuck it.
you know? Yeah, dude, like I wasn't gonna let it shake up my life as much as it did to a lot of people, you know?
You and your family were okay during the whole COVID thing? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I was the only person in my family who ended up getting it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel about the pricing wise? I mean, obviously there was barbers out there charging extra for you to come to their house and get a haircut during the pandemic. How did you feel about that? How did you cope with the pricing of haircuts?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like a haircut is such a necessity, dude. Like even my emotion, the way that I feel after getting a fresh fade, dude, is unmatched. So to be honest, if the price goes up $5, $10, like I'm still coming. You know what I mean? For a long time, haircuts were what, $25 now. I would say the national average is like what, 35, 40.
Yeah.
It's so worth it, dude. For most guys, that's 2 weeks of you actually looking handsome. You know what I mean? So like, I'll pay for that 100%. $40 gets wasted on, you know, McDonald's. You know, I'd much rather spend the $40
kind of boosts your
And, yeah, dude, boost my morale. I feel good. I look good, right? I perform good.
Yeah.
So it's just
your
like,
confidence type of thing.
yeah, dude, it's so worth it. You can't put a price tag on that.
Now, how do you feel about how barbershops have changed? You know, now we were talking about how we're getting a haircut in somebody's house, but now ever since the pandemic and them opening the barbershops back up, all these barbers are using booking apps.
Hmm.
Sometimes your barber is booked for the day or booked for the week. It makes it a little bit more difficult for you to get in and get a haircut.
Yeah, I mean, and I would just say that like increasingly, like obviously getting a haircut is it's just a normal thing, right? Like you should be getting haircuts regularly, right? Just to maintain and stay well groomed. But I feel like now more than ever, like having a fresh fade, like the best fade on the block, is popular now.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal. Like you walk around and instead of people complimenting people's shoes, they're like, yo, that haircut goes crazy.
Where'd you get your haircut at?
Right. Where'd you get your haircut at? Like, who did that fade? And now everybody's trying to get in with the same guy. So you almost have to gatekeep who your barber is now. It's crazy, dude. But as far as like that booking apps and stuff like that, like I'm not a huge fan of the booking apps just because like I never know what my schedule is going to be like. I understand it though, but it's just crazy to me how there's 200 barbers in a 20-mile radius and
Yes.
they're all booked up.
Yeah.
Everyone.
It's a lot of people coming in and stuff and moving from different states and stuff.
Dude.
It's,
All 200 barbers. Full book.
How do you feel about the changes that's been going on in the area, with people coming in?
Yeah, dude, I honestly like it. There's a lot of people that are indifferent toward it, but I've been telling people that Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area is on the rise. I've been telling people that since 2015.
a lot of
Like,
businesses.
dude, a lot of businesses open up the Hanover Industrial Park, like
Yeah.
all those warehouses, right? Like the jobs here, they're available. You know what I mean? Infrastructure in the area is growing, dude. Every house is getting remodeled on every block. You know what I mean? Everywhere you go. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm totally for the change that's happening here. We're becoming kind of a mainstream area. A couple years ago, you told people, "Hey, I'm from Wilkes-Barre." They didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I can genuinely go places and
Oh,
say, "I'm from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area," and they're like,
like,
"Oh
"Oh,
yeah, I
yeah."
know where that is. I partied there."
Before you used to be like, "Oh, I'm from Wilkes-Barre or close to Scranton." And everybody, "Oh, that's where that show is."
Exactly. The Office,
The
right?
Office, and you're like, "Yeah, close," and you're like,
we
"Man,
weren't
this is
even
what it's
in
known
the
for."
map.
Right.
No, for real.
But I like what's happening, man. I really do. And, more people, more opportunity. People might feel a different way about it, but that's how I see it.
Now as far as barbers, I mean, after the pandemic, I've probably seen about 8 barbershops open, man. Before the pandemic, there was probably only 8. Now you probably got at least 15, 20, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is weird. You would think it would happen like the other way around, like after, a worldwide pandemic where a lot of barbershop owners were forced to maybe close even or just, forgive on the lease.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that people would shy away from business opportunity. And I think COVID sparked a new age of entrepreneurship. And now everybody's just like, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to be my own boss because I don't want the government, I don't want my employer to be able to stop me from, making my way of life, right? Like making my income. So it's crazy. You're definitely right. I've seen barbershops and small businesses pop up by the dozens around here.
The problem, we were talking about this the other day too, with on a live that we had. The reason why barbershops had to shut down is because they were considered non-essential.
Mm-hmm.
And how does the government or how do they determine that? From what I saw, the way they determined that was by taxes. Okay, so for example, we know that Dunkin' Donuts is not essential, but they pay their taxes. They show that they have X amount of employees that work for them. So they're not going to want to shut them down because it's going to make it more difficult for those employees to get money or then they have to go and apply for unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with barbers is a lot of barbers don't claim taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to the point where it was like, okay, now you're going to have a shutdown, these barbers, we were considered, okay, just shut down a barbershop because they probably only have one person that works there.
Mm-hmm.
If we collectively start changing that, that's why you see a lot of these businesses that are opening. But if we collectively as barbers start changing that, start doing taxes and start doing what we're supposed to do, when God forbid if something like this was to happen again, that might be something different,
Right. No, go ahead. But I was just gonna say, like, certainly, I think that's just a mindset thing where we're from. Like, let's keep as much cash as we can. Let's not claim maybe every single dollar on our taxes, right? But that's honestly, for lack of better words, just a hood mentality. And I know that better than anybody because I'm from here, right?
Yeah.
So if you are claiming those taxes, yeah, it's less money up front, but now you're opening yourself up to lines of credit, proving that you make 60, 70, $200,000 a year, right? And then the windows of opportunity just open for you. You can buy your own commercial space, right? You get offered banking, financing, and stuff like that for properties or equipment, whatever have you, right? So I think that stigma needs to change a little bit, and certainly like in our area we need to start thinking more long term, right? And being comfortable with paying those taxes.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
more
no,
it's
I'm
more
sorry.
like organizing yourself as a person, as a barber, as a business owner, or whatever the idea is.
By doing taxes. All right, so maybe it's not for everybody, right? But let's say, for example, you're the type that don't want to buy a house later on in life. You want to take your money, put it away, keep it in a bank. Um, Eventually, it's going to get to the point where the bank and people are going to start wondering where the money came from.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if God forbid you want to take out a car note, let's say you want to buy a car, by being self-employed, you have to be able to show
Where's your
how
money
much money
coming
you're
from?
making. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm trying to say? Banks don't want to see that. Oh, I'm self-employed. I make $100,000 a year. Okay, prove it.
Right.
So by you not by you not doing taxes, and by you not organizing your money, by putting it into a bank and showing deposits, money taken out, showing what you're spending,
Paying the
um,
IRS.
how are you going to do that? So I think a lot of people need to really think about what they want in the future, and start applying some of that now. And I was one of those persons too. Heck, I didn't just wanted cash. You know what I mean? But after the pandemic, I was like, man, I really got to start thinking about the future, because at any moment they can say, oh, let's shut it down, and then what do I have to fall back on? You know what I'm trying to say? But all right, we kind of got off the subject real quick. All right, so barbershops have changed a lot from after the pandemic. After the pandemic, I want to say about 2021, you start seeing maybe another 10 barbershops here open up in the area.
Wow.
Now, how do you feel about the pricing of haircuts from 2019 to now?
Well, I mean, yeah, like the prices of haircuts have gone up, but so has the national minimum wage, right? So like you're gonna see those effects. Like you don't just make more money nationally and then things stay the same. Like that's just economics,
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
Like
everything's
if you
going
were
up.
making more money but produce it, like you're making more money, those farmers or whatever, they're paying employees more. Like that's just what happens. It trickles down. Everything's going to get a little more expensive because it's comparable to your wage. So whether people like it or not, I mean, I think it's a very reasonable price, right? Like we said, maybe the average is 35, $40 now. Probably before tip, to be honest, but still, like, comparable to the wage that we're making now, average person making $15 an hour, come on.
But I also believe, in a way, you kind of got to go by your demographic and what's in the area also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, you have warehouse jobs out there that are making almost $30 an hour.
Right.
And not all places are like that. Some places, you're making a lot less an hour. And then how does a barbershop charge $50 for a haircut if the average person's only making $9 an hour? So I think you kind of have to go by that in a way. At least until the point where you get your demand up and you're busier, then you can, make adjustments to fix that. But I feel that because barbers have not raised their prices in such a long period, that it was such a hike, that it was such a big difference between a couple years, because haircuts were probably only $15 for at least 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Without anybody raising their prices or doing anything like that. And then all of a sudden, after the pandemic, it was like, boom, now it's $30. Now it's 40. And now you got barbers out there charging $60, $70 for just a haircut. You know what I'm trying to say? But I think that's the reason why a lot of people, are kind of skeptical about like going to a barber shop and spending that kind of money.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, not every barbershop is priced the same either. And I would say even in the barbershop itself, sometimes not every barber in one barbershop is priced the same, right? And you have to pay for that craft. Like, I would say that it's pretty safe to assume that if you will go to a barber with 10 years of experience, you should pay more.
Mhm.
Do you want a master or do you want a rookie, right? I'm going to pay the rookie far less. And I think you just need to understand that and be comfortable like with that. And it also goes to like the quality of haircut that you want. If you want to pay for a $20 haircut, go pay for a $20 haircut. It might be good, it might be sufficient, but me, I know that I want the best haircut. So, you know, whatever that cost, you know, as far as like what I'm willing to pay, like the maximum dollar I'm willing to pay, I'm going there.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know, there's some people that don't, you know, they don't see the worth in a haircut. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying, you know, it's gold or whatever it is, but what I'm trying to say is, a haircut, man, will get you a job. A haircut will give you your first impression. You know, you're trying to talk to a girl. That's, you know, they notice certain things, not like men that we notice certain, you know, like tits and ass and shit like that. You know, but you know, women notice, you know,
Like
smaller
freshly
things.
groomed men, yeah. Like
You know,
well groomed.
job interviews, the way people perceive, the way people look at you, and you know, they you know, more professional. You know, a lot of haircuts are is more than just get the hair down. That's it. You know, you
Dude.
understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like when I was in the military, man, like you had to be freshly well groomed all the time, 24/7. If you weren't, you were literally getting in trouble. You know, you might get dock pay because you literally aren't well groomed.
Mhm.
And that was just the standard. So like if they're doing it, right? Strongest nation in the world, if we're doing it and we require it, right? There's benefits to that. And I honestly think it's more so about good impressions, right? And being professional and things like that. So it's definitely worth it. And if you don't see the value, well, fine. If you want to just grow your hair out and shag, do that. Some people look good like that, but
You know, and that's what I say. I mean, hey, you know, I don't think we're my shop anyway. I don't think that we're priced too high. You know,
no.
I think that we're kind of, you know, where we should be. You know, and some people may feel that it is still too high, but there's other options. You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say? You can go to a cheaper barber shop, or heck, man, you can even get a machine and do it yourself. You understand what I'm trying to
Oh,
say?
I've tried that. We know.
You know, but you know, just you know, take into consideration that at the end of the day, there's still it's still a business. You know, business has overhead. You know, and there's a reason why the haircut prices have gone up. You know,
Mhm.
after the pandemic, you had
Real estate's gone up.
everything has gone up. You
Yeah.
know, we used to pay $5 for a thing of Cool Care just to disinfect the machine. That alone has doubled in price within a year or two.
Yeah.
You know, gloves, disinfectant things, electric, gas, everything goes up in price. So why can't haircut prices? You know?
Let's go back real quick. You said, you know, buy your own equipment, cut your own hair. I went out and bought $300-400 worth of equipment,
Yeah.
tried to cut my hair maybe 5 times. All 5 times I've come back into the shop like, yo, I ruined myself. Can you fix me?
So on top of so hold on. So on top of buying the machines, you went tried to give yourself a haircut. You ended up paying for a haircut anyway.
Yeah.
Now, did you buy the machines because you didn't want to pay for a haircut? Or?
Yes. Yes. And I quickly learned, go to the master. You know what I mean? I'm no doctor. I'm not going to break my leg and try to treat myself, right? So
It's not as easy as it looks.
it's not as easy as it looks, dude.
It's
I'm
not.
watching video after video. I'm coming in taking tips from you guys, just scanning, right? Like, oh, I can do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nah, it's
Good luck, buddy.
You know, and the other thing I say too is what the heck was it that he said? Um, doctors, right? You graduate college and you know, let's say you studied X of 7 years, 8 years, or whatever it takes to become a doctor. Once you're done, you start working. You have a set salary that you start with. You know
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say? Um, so when you get barbers that come out of barber school, they're walk right now. They're walking into where it's the barber industry is at its best.
Mhm.
You know, they don't have to deal with those $10 haircuts or a $5 shape up. You know, they're coming in and you know haircut prices are $30 and up. So I feel that in a way they kind of barbers kind of the new barbers anyway don't know they don't know that struggle. They didn't go through that.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm saying, hey, we built the path for them. That's great. You know, but in a way, sometimes these barbers, you see them on Instagram, they're all flashy, or you have a barber that has a cancellation policy that you can't cancel with him for 8 hours
Right.
or 24 hours, then he's going to charge you anyway, you know. So when these new barbers are coming out and doing something like that, I think that I still feel that in a way they should still put in their time, man. You know, go through the struggle. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like the base is the base though. Like when you probably started cutting hair, it was, it's probably $10 haircut, $5 shape up, and like we said, things have increased. So like they're coming into that entry level position. But like for you, how long have you been cutting hair? 20 years?
No, well, in the shop legally, in the shop legally, I'd say about almost 10.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, 10 years of experience, man. Like, who's to say that your pricing shouldn't be higher than the bare minimum? You know what I mean? Than the you know the national average, right?
No, yeah, you're right. But we another thing that I picked up on one of the podcasts we did there, the guy we interviewed, he basically said, experience with refinement equals quality.
Yeah.
Right. So when you have some new barbers out here that want to charge $50 for a haircut, yeah, you still got the OG that's charging 40. You know, uh, as a customer, I'd hope that you see the difference.
Hmm.
You know, there should be no reason why that the new barber's charging more than the guy that already has that experience. You understand what I'm
Right.
trying to say?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. How long have you been cutting hair in the shop, like in a shop?
In a shop, total about 7 years.
7 years. Okay. And is your price like around that average?
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, when do you see for yourself a price increase, or if ever? Like, are you just gonna go with how everybody else is doing it, like what the average pricing is?
I always tell Jose that as a barber, you gotta take as consideration where you live.
Yeah, yeah.
Like nobody should put price on your work, but you gotta take that in consideration and kind of do it slowly,
Hmm.
type of thing. That's my opinion.
You know, we were talking about that the other day. Um, how how when you get referrals would be a good time to raise your prices. You know, so let's say you've been doing it 7 years. In 7 years, I'm pretty sure you haven't stayed at the same price. Um, you know, you get to that new person that comes in. Oh, such and such recommended me.
Yeah.
You know, throw an extra $5 on top of it. That might be the time to start raising prices. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
saw
say?
that. Certainly.
Now,
And when
what?
your book is full, when you're maxed out, dude, economics and good business tells you that you need to raise your prices because you're underpriced. If
Exactly.
you're booked out and you're pulling your hair out because you have 30 appointments a day, 20 appointments, I know 30 is kind of crazy, but let's say 10, 20 haircuts a day, um, you need to raise your prices. And then from that, even if you lose half of them, you raised your prices, you're still making out as you should have, and you're probably a little less stressed.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say, if you're getting referrals constantly, if your book is full, it's probably time to raise the prices a little bit. Maybe if it's just $5 increments, and then you ride that out. And then if it becomes to a point too where you're
When you're booked out.
increasingly booked
Continue.
again, increase again. And those core customers who really value your work, they're gonna continue to come.
You know, you have barbers that feel a type of way that they don't really want to lose customers, or they don't want to charge them extra, thinking that the customer's going to go somewhere else. Oh, that's
Yeah.
my homie, that's my friend.
Some people be afraid to do that.
You know, I like talking to him. We kick it, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if you're sick and that customer needs a haircut, you think he's not going to get his haircut?
Mm.
He's going to go somewhere else. He's
Gotta
going to
go
go someone else in the barber shop. If he feels that he doesn't want to go to the barber shop, there's 15 other barber shops that will take him happily. You know what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say? So, you can't go by how, how, I don't want to lose a customer, because at the end of the day, it comes down to it. The customer's going to want his haircut more than having to deal with with your problems. You know, if you're not here and he needs it, he's going to get it no matter what.
Mm.
You know, that's what some people need to.
I feel
to
like a
realize.
lot of customers though are like, nope, I'm not going anywhere else but my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was like that.
I mean,
for a
no,
while.
don't get it twisted. You have the people that like that. You have that are like that, and some that aren't. But if you have a wedding,
Right.
if you're gonna get married, right, and your barber's sick, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm getting it somewhere. You're right.
If you have a funeral, you got whatever the case is, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
You know. Now it's all about client retention. So let's say you've been giving this customer a great service the whole time. Even if he goes somewhere else, he may not feel the same way, and he may come back because the other barber maybe he didn't like it, whatever the case is. But I mean, at the end of the day, that customer's still gonna go and get a haircut. You know what I
It's
mean?
more about to like when people feel more comfortable with one guy than another. But at the end of the day, you need a haircut. So if they really need it, they're gonna go to somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, recently I've gotten to the point where I'm like,
Bouncing around.
yeah, bouncing around. Like I really don't care as long as you're a good barber. I'll take your work. You know what I mean? And from barber to barber, none of the work is the same. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it. Like
Yeah, everyone's a little different.
everyone's a little different, even like their style. Like
They work
dude,
different.
sometimes I get a fade from the top down.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me. When I see it, I'm like, what's going on? And it comes out amazing, you know? I'm like, what's happening, you know? But yeah, I think barbers shouldn't be, you know, too afraid because this is a business at the end of the day. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
of
And
course.
you're a businessman. So like you can't be too worried about customer retention, I'd feel like, at the risk of sacrificing a payday for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100% right. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you look for in a barbershop? What, you walk in the barbershop, what's the first thing you look for?
Cleanliness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, it's got to be clean. Like, I understand there's going to be hair on the floor and stuff like that, but like, I really appreciate when I walk into a barbershop, it smells good. It's not muggy, right? Because you have hundreds of guys coming in and out of these doors every single day.
Smell like a locker
It
room.
it could easily smell like a locker room in there, right? And I've been to some barbershops where you're just like, damn, like it's stinky in here, right?
What's
like
going on?
like yeah, like it's a little musty, right? So like when I walk into a barbershop and it's clean and every chair doesn't have a mountain of hair underneath it, you know what I mean? They're actually taking the time to sweep after haircuts and stuff like that. Like that's big for me, right? Because that tells me that you respect your space, right? And then I feel more comfortable getting in the chair. Like if I sit down at your station and you're fumbling for clips, you can't find them, you know what I mean? You're just cleaning your stuff when I walk in, like it wasn't clean already. Your station looks awful. There's hair all over your station. I'm not gonna feel that comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, there's been times where I've had to look back at barbers and be like, "Hey, can you spray that for me, quick?"
You actually told a barber that?
Yeah, like, "Hey, can you spray it?"
No.
Cause like, dude, like
You can tell.
like, dude, I don't even use my wife's razor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want you hitting me with that. You know what I mean? I've even asked like a lot of the times, and sometimes it's just because I don't see it, and it might come off bad. But like for me, the cleanliness is the biggest part. Even with like the straight blade, I'll be like, "Hey, did you change that?" You know, but they did. They just did it mad quick.
It's curious to know. if
Yeah,
you
I'm just like,
changed
"Yo,
that
did
or
you
not.
change the blade?"
Yeah.
Just want to know.
Just want to know, and I know they're
Yeah.
cheap, and they probably did, and I just didn't see it. But
Yeah, I mean, blades don't cost expensive, man. If you're not changing your blades, dude, don't just get that off the
Yeah,
barbershop, man.
Yeah, but like I'll ask. I don't care, you know. But yeah, dude, cleanliness is definitely number one, and I'd say number two on that list is then just like atmosphere.
Uh-huh.
So like when I walk in, like there's definitely been a couple barbershops that I walk into, and there's like almost tension in the room, you know, and the customer can feel that. Like
Yeah.
maybe two barbers are mad at each other, they're not having a good day, and like you can feel that tension. The barbershop's quiet, nobody wants to talk. So when I walk into a barbershop, you know what I mean, and you know people are talking, joking, having a good time, you know, that's where I want to be. I don't want to just sit in my chair
Positive
and be
atmosphere.
like, and be afraid to talk to my barber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times when I come to the barber, it's probably more like a therapy session, to be honest. You know,
No.
every time, you know, I sit down in the chair with one of the barbers that I usually go to, you know, it's always like, "Oh, how you doing? How you been? How's the family?" You know what I mean?
Start
And that's where I want to
conversation
go.
type of thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's where I want to go.
So now let's say you're not in the area, you're not around anyone, you're like whatever, another state or whatever the case is, you're looking to get a haircut. How do you go about finding the right barbershop for you?
Oh, Google, baby. Dude, I Google.
What do you look for on Google?
I got to read those reviews. Like, I want to see a barbershop with 50 plus reviews.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to hear name call outs and stuff like that. Like when I traveled a lot for the military, so I had to go to barbershops all across the country, and Google was definitely my best friend, you know, and it would be like, you go on Google when I lived in Chicago, go on Google, type in barbershop. Great barbers, terrible neighborhood, be safe. You know?
Yeah.
And it'd be like you
It's
have
insight.
to take 3 trains and a taxi to get to the to the barber shop. So I was like, okay, well, this probably isn't it, you know? And then, you know, you might find one where they're like, hey, you know, super clean, like nice guy,
Yeah.
you know, so like those are the kind of things that I'm looking for, especially if I'm not around or if I haven't had time to like meet locals that like have referred me to barbers, right? Because I'm always looking, you know, anywhere that I've lived with the military for like a long period of time, you know, word of mouth, it gets around, you know. You see that one guy with a fresh fade, I'm walking up to you and be like, yo,
Who cut your hair?
who cut your hair, right? Because I need that.
So referrals, Google. You look at the reviews. What about pictures?
Yeah, dude. Like the Google Photos, of course, I'm gonna look at those, and sometimes immediately you just know, like, I'm not going there.
Now, would you go? No, do you go by like the stars, 5-star, 3-star?
I don't really
2-star?
care about the stars. No, I don't really care about that. And like most of the time, I feel like that's skewed because like anything that has a star program like that, I always just put 5. You know what I mean? Unless you got some like crazy awful service, and you know you're gonna get that one customer who's not happy about something, and they're like 1 star, and they're gonna shame you. You know what I mean? Like I don't care about that.
You know, well, that's good to know because that happens. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You could have a flawless record. Everybody loves the hair, you know, the haircut, the service, and you get that one person that had one bad experience or was in a bad mood that day, and you couldn't put them in the chair for 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
He's gonna give you a
They're
1
gonna
star.
give
Now
a
you got
1 star.
4. You know what I mean?
Oh, great haircut, but he was on the phone.
What?
Like, okay, so what the fuck?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
trying to say?
Right.
But yeah, you get stuff like that all the time, and you got people that just troll sometimes, man. You got people that just, I don't know what it is, man, but I think that they're the type that everywhere they go, they leave like, you know, horrible reviews or, you know, whatever the case is. But
They just
like, some people are like that.
critics, dude. Like just straight critics.
So now you look at Google, you would go through pictures. So now let's say, like you said, besides cleanliness, now let's say, you know, you found a spot and you're gonna go over there and go in to get a haircut. What would you expect when you walk through the door?
Yeah, dude. Like the best barbershops that I've been to, and I know that I'm about to get a quality haircut, is when either the guy giving me the haircut or the shop owner or you know whoever's like, you know who the guy in the barbershop is most of the time. When I walk
How do
in,
you know? How do you know?
typically he's the one who greets you.
Okay.
You know, no matter if and he's usually cutting hair, but typically he's the one that's like, "Hey man, what's up?" You know, because they already know, they've never seen you before.
Okay.
And so like the good barbershops that I've been to, wherever I go, it's typically the shop owner, and I already know hands down he's the owner because when I walk in, he goes, "Hey man, what's up? You looking to get a haircut?" Like,
Yeah.
oh, he can take you in 10
Have an
minutes.
appointment or
right,
not?
like, yeah. Do you have an appointment or not? No. Okay.
No.
Well, we don't have anybody available right now, but he can get you in 20 minutes, right? Like after him, you'll be next.
The customer service.
Right,
part.
and then the customer, you know, and then the guy that he said, you know, he can get you in 20 minutes. If that guy looks nervous, he doesn't look up to see who he's about to cut, and he just stays on where he is, and he looks nervous, and he's like, "Damn, I don't want to do
What
another."
do you do in that case?
Then I'm just like, no, it's okay. I'm kind of in a rush, and I'm gonna get out of there, you know. But if he looks over at me like, "Hey, bro, I got you in 20. Don't worry."
Okay.
Then I'm gonna
see the
sit down.
confidence
When
in
I
that
see that
person.
confidence, like you want to cut hair, you love your craft,
Yeah.
and you know you're about to give me some fire haircut. I need that. You know what I mean? But the guy, like literally, if they don't look up or they don't greet you at all, I really don't want to sit in that chair.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I get it.
that's kind of just how I read it.
Now, would you let a student cut your hair?
I have, yeah,
Okay.
awful fucking haircut. It was absolutely awful.
So why did you sit with the student?
Yeah, because like I'm all for that, like letting people practice and stuff like that. Like I don't really mind, but I'm pretty sure the 2 times that I let student barbers like from my school cut my hair, I've come here the next day and got it fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
I'm trying to think.
it's happened.
Yeah.
It happened like my freshman year of college when you guys were on Blackman. And I literally told him, like, yo, thank you. Like, it's not terrible, but I'm just not walking around like this.
You know, I'm gonna go into that. The other thing is that you got to keep in mind, man. There isn't a school out here.
Right.
I think the closest school is what, 2 hours away,
2 hours.
or an hour and a half away. Who's gonna go through that every day?
Well, who cut my hair was like the cosmetology students. You know, like the girl, like the salon hair girls or whatever.
And that's kind of like the way around. That's kind of like the way around getting licensed to work in a shop around
Yeah.
here is through like a cosmetologist,
Mm-hmm.
because there isn't a barber school out here.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You know what I mean? So these people that want to learn, where do they go? YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They go on YouTube, or
Go to a barber
I
shop.
just yeah,
they might come in and be like, "Oh, I'll sweep the floor for you." One of the guys that we got here that's doing really well. I mean, I don't want to put him, on blast, but he sent me a message and was like, "Look, I will work there for free, sweep here, clean, do whatever I got to do just so I can learn."
mm-hmm. Beautiful. That's how it should be. I wish apprenticeship and stuff like that was more common in barbershops. Like
Yeah.
it's common, but I wish that it was more of a thing where you have willing students lined up at the door saying, "Hey, can we learn under you?"
Yeah.
I wish that was more of a thing, Walk in, "Hey man, I'd love the chance to learn under you." And it's going to get rough. You might be able to be like, "Hey, we're going to take 3 underlings every 6 months." You know what I mean? But I wish that more entrepreneurs, more barbers would just feel comfortable about walking into their favorite shop, walking up to their favorite barber and saying, "Hey, can I learn under you, right? I'll sweep for you.
Yeah.
Teach me the ropes."
Yeah.
You
No, I
know?
get it. There's a lot. Like I said, some people don't want that headache
Hmm.
because in a way it is not easy.
Yeah.
You're gonna first off, you're gonna have people that are not gonna want to sit with a student, right? And how many mannequins can they buy? You know
Hmm.
what I'm trying to say?
Hmm.
So it's gonna get to a point where you're actually teaching them and showing them how to do certain things on people. And if it's not one of their friends, then it's the customers that walk through. And you gotta let the customer know, look, that's still a student. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Hmm.
So that way they don't feel a type of way if you gotta jump in and fix something.
Right.
So I mean, just that alone makes it kind of difficult for them. You know
No,
what I
it's
mean?
definitely difficult. Like it's not going to be easy, but if it was easy, everybody would do it and I'd be still cutting my own hair at home.
No, but the reason I
You
say
know?
that is because a lot of people don't let students,
Yeah.
and for you to go ahead and let like your people do that, you know what I mean? That's pretty dope because he was probably hyped as hell,
Hmm.
because not many people do that, even their friends.
Yeah, no, I mean it could get scary, dude. Like it can get scary out there, dude. One hiccup with the
Oh yeah.
with the trim, with the shape up, one hiccup. Whoo, boy, you could be out of commission for months.
Yeah, I've
Months.
everybody goes through something, you know what I mean? But let's talk about an experience. Have you ever had a bad experience in a barbershop? You can
I,
talk about it.
I have, man. I have. I got a bad shape up one time, man. Pushed me back kind of crazy.
What do you mean he pushed you back?
Um,
Hairline.
yeah, hairline like with the shape up.
Uh-huh.
Pushed it back kind of so far, and I already had thin hair, on the corners here. I already had thin hair, so he pushed it back, and it just never grew back.
It never grew back?
Never.
Really?
Yeah. Well, to be completely transparent, I'm still in the process of growing it back. You see this U?
Uh-huh.
I never had that U before. I didn't have the U like that, like this extensive.
Yeah.
My comb over was very straight across, and now I have this deep U. Yeah, so that was the craziest haircut experience that I had, and it was kind of just like okay, just let it go and like just move on, and that's exactly what I did. But dude, that shit hurt my heart, dude. Like that hurt my heart.
Did you tell the barber, like, look, be careful? I got light corners or whatever the case is.
No, I didn't say that. But I did say oh yeah, just leave it natural. I
Okay.
did say like, oh, leave it natural, just like, don't go too crazy. Just leave it. I want it like, and I had a beard at the time. It was like in the process of still growing, and like it didn't look the best. And I'm like, oh, leave it natural. And instead, I got a Sharpie. I got Sharpied up. You know what I mean? I got a straight tight Sharpie, fresh out of prison haircut.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just a rough experience, dude. I don't even want to think about
All
it.
right, so what'd you do? I mean, did you tell the shop owner?
Did
Did
you
you
pay for
explain
it?
to him?
Did you pay for the haircut?
Oh yeah, I paid for the haircut, and no, I didn't really say anything to the shop owner. We kind of just made eye contact going out, and I just went about my business. But what are you gonna do?
The
You know?
damage is done already.
The damage is done, and it's like I'm not gonna make the barber feel worse about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because
understand.
that could throw him off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But did you, kind of mention, oh man, this is, a little bit too far back or anything?
No, I didn't. No, I literally when they pull the mirror out and they put it behind your head, like, yo, you like it? I'm like, yeah, fire. Literally. Literally, like they probably think they gave me the best haircut on the damn planet. I was like, yeah, fire, dapped him up and everything. Walked out, got in my car, and was like, called my brother literally in the car, and said,
Mad as fuck.
I looked at him. I had a hat too with me. I had a hat, so I put it on to be funny. Took it off. I said, bro, I got a prison haircut. He said, bro, you look tough.
He said-
He was like, dude, you look like if you were in the yard, I wouldn't fuck with you. That's when I knew I looked rough, dude.
So what else you look for in a shop? Walking through the shop, cleanliness. You look for the
Atmosphere.
person that kind of greets you. The person that feels more comfortable. Um, you also have machines. You got. Do you ask to see their like pictures of their work? What else you look for?
No, man, like I honestly I don't really look for anything too crazy, but like I know like enough about I've been in so many barbershops, like I kind of know the standard,
Yeah.
right? So like I honestly the biggest thing for me too is like looking at the station, making sure you have like your barber side or whatever it is, you know what I mean, like your cleaning products and stuff like that. Um and then yeah, just looking at the station and making sure that it's clean. That's really like the biggest thing for me. There really isn't anything else, but also you kind of just know, like for me also, kind of skewed. If it's not a Spanish run owned barbershop, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's not funny that you say that, but a lot of people say certain things. Oh, like if it's not a black barber shop, I'm not going. If they're not Spanish, if they're not Dominican, blah blah blah. I mean, we
Dude,
got we here anyway. We're fortunate enough that not everybody cuts the same. Some people are used to the way that their customers like to get cut, but we're pretty diverse here. A lot of us are Spanish, yeah,
mhm.
but we also got a white dude, we got a female, we have Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Rican. Most of us are Spanish, yeah, but it's all a mixture of how how people cut and how
Mhm.
everyone has their own way of doing things. You
Nah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure. But even if like Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Rican, if you're any type of Spanish, if you're any type of Spanish, if you brought your lunch today and there's plantain in there, you can
Good.
cut my hair. You can cut my hair for sure.
Now
Like,
let's talk about you real quick. Switch subjects. After the pandemic, you decided you wanted to open up a business as well, correct?
right.
What? All right. First off, talk about what you were doing before the pandemic and during the pandemic,
Mm.
and let's talk about what made you change your mind. Let's talk about what made you stop doing what you was doing to get in and start a business.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, essentially, I'm a sneaker reseller. I've been reselling sneakers for like 8 years now. And during the pandemic, I was just running it out of my house and out of the back of my car like I always was. So, like, for me, when the pandemic happened, I thought that I was going to be destroyed. I'm like, well, nobody's going out anymore. Nobody can go out. People don't want to get fly. But
Mm-hmm.
then we got that stimulus check, shout out, and my business boomed more than ever. Like, we took off amazingly. Like, I went from selling like 10 pairs a week to like 50 pairs a week during COVID.
Wow.
Thanks God.
Crazy. Like, I was able to like triple my inventory
Wow.
during COVID. So when that happened, it was kind of just like we were at a point in our lives where I had too much inventory in the house and it was almost a liability at that point. And then I'm just having customers in and out of my house daily,
Yeah.
and that was kind of a little rough. And then, just traveling all the time, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm always on the road selling shoes. I have too many shoes from our house, like, so let me just get this out of here and open up. And like that was like the difference maker. But it was also just because now at that point I had established myself as like the premier sneaker reseller in the area.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm known for this. Everywhere I go, people are like, oh, you're the sneaker guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna be the sneaker guy then. And the best way to do that is to have a space where people could come in and interact with me, right? Talk to me about shoes. I can show face, you know what I mean? And just really put on for what I do, and it worked, dude. So I'm glad that I did it.
How long your business has been open?
2 years now. Yeah, so 2 years we opened September of 2021 technically, and it was crazy. We had like little soft openings. We let people come through, and then we did like a grand opening December 1, 2021. Dude, the amount of sales that we had in one day was crazy, dude.
That's crazy.
And
That's
that
what's
was
up.
like, it solidified because when I opened, I was down to my last penny.
Uh-huh.
I had bled through like $5,000 in credit cards. Now, mind you, before I opened the shop, I probably had like 10, 20 grand. I spent it all to open, you know, down payments, stuff like that, all the materials to build it out. When we opened, I probably had $50. So I'm like, I need to have a great grand opening. Like, we need to go crazy. And I was already kind of like doing the math in my head, like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, I'm out 40 grand,
Yeah.
you know? And day one, December 1, 2021, dude, we do 40 grand in sales.
Wow, that's a blessing.
That's
right
good.
there.
crazy,
You did a sacrifice, and then you saw the blessings come
It
back.
was
That's good.
crazy, dude.
You
I
know,
tell
that's
people
something a lot of people won't do. A lot of people won't take that risk, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're young, so I mean, at that time, you didn't have any children or anything like that at that time.
So actually, what it was is and I was also influenced to open the shop is because my lady was pregnant at the time, and we were going to be having our daughter, you know,
Soon.
3 months after I opened, you know.
That's what's up.
You know, so most people won't take that risk. Most people will say, no, you know what, I'm not going to go and jump and do it. So what made you jump on it? What made you say, you know what, the hell with it? If it don't work, oh well.
Dude, I've always been that way. Like, even when I joined the military, like, that wasn't a plan. You know, I seized opportunity. That was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
They looked at me and said, hey, we're going to pay for your school. I was dirt broke, absolutely poor. They said, hey, we're going to pay for your school. We're going to send you away to a different country. You're going to make a buttload of money, and you're not going to be able to spend it. So you'll come home with it. And that was enough for me, you know? And that was enough for me.
You saw that's a good deal.
Dude, right? It was a good deal. If I see a good deal, I'm going to take the good deal. Like, I tell my girl about that all the time. Like, if it makes dollars, it makes sense.
Yep.
And that made sense. Yeah, it was a little bit of a sacrifice. It was a risk. It was a gamble. Most people won't do it. But I was willing to take that risk because, like, for me, it's just all about progression. And that helped me get to a level where I didn't feel like anybody was better than me anymore.
Yeah.
You know, before I left there, it was like, I'm so behind. I can't afford college like my friends can. I don't have a car. I can't buy a car like my friends can. And I sacrificed a year and a half of my life, and now I was ahead.
Yeah.
I had a car.
Hmm.
I had, like they said, a buttload of cash. I just had cash. Didn't know what to do with it. I went from dirt broke poor, our fridge was a cooler on the back porch in the winter, to now I've got $75,000, a brand new car, and I'm going to college for free. You know, so like that's why I did that. And then even with the business, you know, as far as like the risk was like, oh, if I lose out, I'm going to lose $40,000. My rationale was, oh, well, I'm going to school for free. So if I fail, I'm just like everybody else that's just going to school and then they're going to get a regular job. So I didn't really care, you know?
Now, thank God you didn't fail. Now, I want to ask you, now that you're a business owner, like, why do you think a lot of businesses, they shut down, they close? What do you think is that?
Yeah, so like even when I'm seeing, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm still learning. I'm a baby in the business. Like a lot of people, what's the worst thing for me is like a lot of people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're doing so good. Your business is doing great." Like, yeah, we are, and I'm making a lot of sales, right? And the money's coming in, but I'm still learning, dude. Like I'm making mistakes, so many mistakes, and that's okay, because one day I'm gonna be a master, right? But like I'm learning the hard way. Year one, you know, it was only that December thing. So like this year, right? Like the whole taxes situation, like we were talking about. Well, this guy, we made a lot of money. This guy wasn't putting money away. So it's like,
So did you struggle in that area?
I did,
in the
right?
first
Because
year?
like I knew about it, but I wasn't
Prepared for
I
it.
wasn't prepared for it, right? I knew, but I was ignorant.
Okay.
And so it got to the point where now you go to the end of the year and they're like, okay, well, you owe us $25,000, you know? And you're like, oh shit, I have 3 months to give the IRS $25,000 or they're coming for me, right? So I'm kind of at that point now, which is fine. Like, yeah, it's a sucky situation. It's terrible, but it's a lesson now.
Yes.
Now I'll be saving more money. My problem was, it would have been fine to owe them $25,000, but I put every single penny back into the business. Like every single penny. I hardly take profits for myself unless I need them. So every single penny goes back and nothing gets saved. At any given point, if you were to rob me, you can't because I got no cash.
Yeah.
If you wanted to take money from me, you can't do it because it's all in shoes. I have no money. So that was kind of like a problem. So then it got to the point where I needed to then like deplete my inventory from where it was so that I can give the IRS the 25,000, you know, which was a lesson and it sucks. But I would say that's like a big reason most businesses close is like they don't plan properly. They're ignorant to a lot of business
Taxes and
practices.
stuff,
Yeah, and stuff like that. And like you can put yourself in a hole real quick, you know what I mean? Owing 25
time.
grand, you wake up one day and you owe the IRS 25 grand.
Big time.
You know what I mean? And then you're just like, well, damn, I'm probably gonna close now and then sell off my inventory and pay the IRS and then I'll just get out, you know?
That's a great example, man.
Like that's genuinely, I feel like that's what happens a lot. And then, or sometimes, you know, maybe it's just not working. Like maybe the math didn't math, you know?
It didn't make sense, like you said before.
Right. Like if the dollars didn't make sense, like, and some months for us, the dollars don't make sense.
down.
And like, I want to give up, you know? It's easy to get sad when you're a business owner if
Yeah.
it's not thriving, you know?
You know, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and if you don't do that planning, you're always going to get kind of surprises.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something that comes up, you know. Even here with this, I didn't plan this like perfectly all the way through on how things could be, and even if I did, there's always something that comes up, you
Mhm.
know, whether it's you know, like maintenance fees or, you know, that's something you're like, well, hold on a second.
I didn't write
You
that
know,
down.
that's something you didn't take into consideration.
Didn't roll
You know,
that.
there's always like, okay, while you weren't open, the bills were X amount, so you add a little bit more thinking that it would be that, and then it turns out to be triple than what it was, you know. But you kind of gotta work around that, you know. Let's say your first year you're open, you're gonna run into tons of problems. That's why a lot of places they say don't look into making any money until like 4 or 5 years later.
4 or 5
on.
years
Yeah.
in, yeah.
And then you could start seeing, you know, profit. So whatever you put into the place, whatever you're paying in taxes, you know, overhead, everything else that you're losing out on, you're not going to see any of that coming back. You know what I mean? Eventually, it'll get to the point where you got everything under control, and now you're like, okay, now is where you can actually see profit. You know what I mean? But it takes time, man. Like I've learned that you know, that way. I've learned that it's not something that's going to happen one day to another. Whatever money you put into a business isn't going to come back to you right away, and you can't consider any gains until you get all that money back. You know, so if you put down 100 grand into building something, you're not making any profit until you make that 100 grand back. You understand what I'm trying to say? But now what made you pick the location you're in?
Safety, honestly. Like so many sneaker stores throughout the country get broken into, and that could, like, even when you have insurance, you know, insurance companies could take months, years to pay you out.
Yeah.
So for me, I just like really didn't want to go through that, and it's almost like normal for sneaker stores to get broken into, or even just vandalized sometimes when they can't get stuff. So double door entry where I'm at, inside of a building right around the corner from a police headquarters.
Yeah.
That was a seller enough for me. You know, we're not in the best location. I don't have, you know, high volume foot traffic unless you're looking for me.
So it's more exclusive. Unless
Yeah,
you know
it is
about
more
the place, you're
exclusive
not
too.
gonna.
Exactly, you know, which is nice as well because it's like that works to my benefit as well. That
Yeah.
it almost seems like a, you know, a special place to know about. You know, when people find out about it, they're like, "Oh, this is nice, dude!" Like tucked into this little corner, you know, in this building that with doctors' offices.
I couldn't even find it.
Yeah,
the first
dude,
time I
there's-
went there.
You know,
I had
5
to call.
doctors in the
Yeah.
building and
I had
just
to call you.
a random sneaker
Where are
store.
you?
No, it's pretty cool. I liked it. I still like it. I thought it was a good spot. It's more you know, it just seems more exclusive. You know what I'm trying to say?
Boutique-ish, like
Yeah.
very boutique.
Yeah.
You know, niche kind of store, which is dope. I definitely like the way that it comes off to people.
Yeah. Now, how much work goes into running a shop like that?
Yeah, so we're only open 5 hours a day, but I would say me genuinely, I work like maybe like 13, 14 hours a day because I'm ordering, shipping,
Picking up.
invoices, picking up,
Mhm.
but mostly just like ordering, you know, because it's not just like there is like some guys, you know, out there that I deal with that have, you know, 10,000 shoes in inventory and I can just pick what I want, you know. But also I have to shop around. So I'm making calls to probably 10, 20 suppliers a day to see who has what I need at the best price. So a lot of phone calls, dude, a lot of work on the back end doing like the books and stuff like that because I do the books after every work day.
Yeah.
And then just like I would say once a month, I have to go back and do like a full inventory sweep to make sure that nothing was missed, because sometimes, you know, you have 30 people in there, you're pumping out sales, something didn't get scanned up correctly, something didn't get written down, and now I'm behind the curve, right? So it's just, honestly, it's very exhausting. It's definitely not for the weak, you know, and there's a lot of benefits to it, you know, being your own boss, being able to do what you want, but
A lot of work too.
dude, it's so much work. It's crazy, dude. Like, they don't talk about that stuff, you know?
No, not at all. And most people think it's just, you know, fun and games. Oh, you know, I want to open a business. It'll be fun, they say.
Yeah, you lied, dude.
Yeah. No, it's
Like,
not.
it's not like I enjoy what I do, but dude, there's like sitting down at this podcast for an hour, my phone went off 30 times. I've got 30 phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, like that's and lack of privacy, right? Now I'm a public figure pretty much for running the store and owning the store. So like my life lacks privacy. I'm always busy and I have a family, so like that's counterintuitive, right? To like having a family and then running a 13-hour business that allots 11 hours to my family, right?
Yeah.
Plus I need to sleep. So I might see my kids and wife for 3-4 hours a day max, you know.
It's a sacrifice. I feel like everything has a sacrifice, and
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, it's worth it sometimes.
Yeah, but the good thing is you're young, man. Do it now, because once your kids are older,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're gonna demand more attention from you.
Right.
So, you know, that would be my advice to you.
Mm-hmm.
Do it now. Do as much as you can now to set yourself up for that point. So when you're older, you could say, you know what, you just pay a visit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't. You gotta be that guy that walks in. Oh shit, the boss is here.
Right. Exactly.
You understand what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say? So
I definitely want to get to that point.
yeah, definitely work towards that. That's what you need to do.
Mhm.
You know. So when you, all right. So you the name of your shop is called Gemini Kicks.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just that's your brand now, right?
Right.
What made you come up with the name?
Honestly, I just chose the name because, like the whole astrology thing.
You're a Gemini.
I'm a Gemini, right? But I did that because I'm like, okay, people will relate to this. Even if they're not Geminis, they'll be like, oh, I'm a Cancer, I'm an Aries. We're compatible. I'm going to come shop with you. Like, I genuinely thought that was what's going to happen. And then also, I was supposed to have a partner in the beginning. And my birthday's May 30th. His was May 31st. And we're both in the sneaker business, both right around the same age. And, like, we really clicked and connected. And we were talking one day, like, yo, dude, let's open a store, like my senior year of college. And he was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So I was like, Gemini Kicks. Because the symbol for Gemini is like two twins, like two people. And we were so similar. I'm like, dude, Gemini Kicks. It makes sense. And me and you will be the face. We'll do this thing, right?
There you go.
And then what happened?
I opened the store and he backs out.
Oh wow.
You know, but he's one of my suppliers now. He ended up taking a different route into the shoes. So like he's my number one supplier now, which is cool. So we still get to like interact and work with each other. And he gets to see, because of how much money I spend with him in order, he sees the shop thriving. And I'm like, damn, bro, like this was supposed to be us, you know? But we're still making money together because I shop with him and he shops with me and stuff like that.
There
But
you go.
you know, it would have been so sick to like do that with him, you know, and he had just as much, if not more, inventory than I did. So like we could have built something real beautiful. I promise you, like if he was my partner,
You know, things happen.
we would have been somewhere else.
Is that who,
Things
like-
happens for a reason, man.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
for
what I
sure.
mean. So don't take it like as if we could have been, could have. No.
Yeah.
Just, you know, you got to see it that way. You know, things happen for a reason.
Is
Well,
that like a friend or your brother or something?
Yeah, it's just a friend, but like it's basically a brother now. You know, we've been doing business. I only met him just a few years ago, and like once I met him, we've literally done business with each other almost independently since. Like me
That's
and him keep the pockets churning, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
it's
for
not.
sure.
It's definitely a great relationship, and lucky to have him. Business probably wouldn't be where it is today without him. So I'm glad that I was able to like see that in him,
That's good.
and we're still sticking to our guns and making it work for each other.
That's good.
Now, if you wanted to, I'm not saying give out your secrets or whatever the case is, right? But
Yeah.
let's say, you know, there's lots of people out there because being a reseller, whether it's clothing or sneakers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's become really popular.
Yeah.
What gems would you give them? What would you tell them to do?
Yeah, I would just say, man, one turns into two. Like, take it slow. Like, everybody asks, like, hey, I want to do this. Like, how much money do I need? And I literally tell them, like, straight up, like, bro, like, how much money you need is probably $300. But a good start is maybe $2,000, right? $2,000 gets you like 10 pairs of shoes, and that way you can have a pretty good size run. And then it's a doubles game, right? Like one turns into two. So you sell one, you buy two. You sell two, you buy four. Like that's the game plan, and that's what I did for 7 years, literally. Like if one was getting sold, two were coming in, with that money, right? Every single penny. Don't worry about the profits now, and keep playing that game, because one day you're gonna look up and you're gonna have 500 pairs of shoes valued at $250,000. You know. So like that's definitely the biggest piece of advice I would give is worry about the money tomorrow, not the money today.
Look,
Right.
All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up today. I want to say thank you again, Isaac. Y'all go ahead. Y'all be safe. Peace.
Y'all be safe. Peace. N.Y.O. Barbershop.